welcome to the Special News Podcast. This is episode 109. My name is Mike Williams. These guys are Jake Lukowski and Liam McKelvey. How's it going?
It's going good. It's going very good. Yeah.
I'm feeling Christmassy. I've got Christmas socks on. I've got some reindeers on my socks. So I'm kind of getting into the mood for Christmas. I hope I can get some, a good break, play some Destiny and stuff.
Yeah. We put a Christmas tree up on Friday night. Yeah. Shipped the baby off so she doesn't end up, wrecking the tree and stuff. And then me and the girls were putting the tree together. Put on a bit of Spotify, looking for the Christmas classics. You can search by most popular playlist, Christmas music trap remix, or a lo-fi Christmas. And I'm thinking, do you have any fucking respect for Shakin' Stevens? Yeah.
I can.
Lo-fi Christmas. Lo-fi one is actually really
Lo-fi
good.
Christmas sounds great.
I was going to say, the depressing thing about that is I can hear it already. I can just imagine.
So there's it's literally just jazzy Rhodes piano covers of songs or originals, but with, Miracle on whatever, 34th Street or whatever the hell it's called.
But with crackle.
With lots of tapings. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, that got me into the festive spirit. And I'll tell you what, the most festive thing that has happened here is, my wife got me an advent calendar because I'm a child, and it's hot chocolate. Yeah, every day is a different hot chocolate. Right. So I've been having the crappy or wanker equivalent of hot chocolate. Yeah. Every, they're not sickly. They're like,
Well, at least you're self-aware. At least you're, that's.
She's encouraged it, so she's, you know what I mean.
I think you can basically do anything unless, as long as you can freely admit it on a gaming podcast. Open yourself up to mockery.
That's part of the privilege.
You want. Yeah. We got a lot of stuff coming up this week. We have got Cyberpunk 2077, Destiny 2 is coming to next gen. There's quite a bit going on. The Game Awards are happening this week. We'll talk about that in a bit. But firstly, I want to hear about what you guys have been playing, which is not going to be fun for people who are fan of Souls games and are tired of how much we talk about Souls games. Liam, what? Go on, Jake, what are you going to say?
I'll get out of the way just quick. I've just been carrying on playing Demon's Souls, and I'm one trophy away from the platinum now. I need all the miracles. It's the last miracle that you can only get by killing these 3 blobs that just randomly appear in the world if you've hit a certain criteria. And I'm loaded up in the level where the blob is. I know where the blob is. I just need to make a beeline to the blob, running past all the overpowered enemies that can kill me in one hit, kill the blob, go back to the main area, talk to the guy, get it, tweet it. It'll get about 40 likes. I'll say to Sean, I've finally done the platinum and should do this. Well done. That's it. I sent it to you. You guys will send me emojis. That's it. Yeah. What's the point? Do you know what I mean?
You'll get an arm off me. You'll get like a...
That's it. Yeah. So I've been playing Spider-Man as well, but I want to... While we've got people acclimatized to the FromSoft, Liam better go.
Yeah. I decided to replay Bloodborne for the first time in... God, must be 5 years now since it came out. Was the last time I played it. Yeah. And I'm having a whale of a time. I booted it up, made a new character. Within like an hour, I was like well back into the world. I was loving every second of it. I was exploring every nook and cranny I could find, fighting all the bosses I could get into. Father Gascoigne, he got. That was a good fight, even though I kept getting stuck on the graves in the arena.
What are you using? What weapon are you using?
So this time I'm using the threaded cane, because last time I used the saw cleaver, just because it was on the box, and I thought, do it right. Yeah. It's the box art weapon. But the threaded cane is really good. Like, basically a sword, even though it's a cane. And then it doubles as a big chain whip from Castlevania-looking thing, which is amazing for crowd control, especially in, the early stages of Yharnam, when you've got all the villagers or townspeople just gather in massive groups, so you can take them out in one huge swath with a whip is always great fun.
So you're like some nightmarish ringmaster who's just whipping all these spawn of hell.
Yep. I'll show you away.
My character's even wearing the top hat as well. So
nice.
It goes into it. I'm having a great time. I had I think it was Friday. Yeah, Friday. I had like a big just marathon session. Started at like 10 in the morning. Played it until probably like 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night. Got all the way up to where am I? Vicar Amelia is where I got to. So that's the next thing I've got to take down. And then straight after that, I was planning on going to do Dark Beast Pile because I got myself killed by the Snatcher, so I could get teleported to that area. Because I know you can't go back to it after a certain point in the game, right?
Yeah.
I think, is it after you kill Rom? You can't go back to it. Yeah. So I've got that all set up, teed up, ready to go. I've still got to take out the really, really annoying hunter. You know, the one with the rifle spear. Who's just like, just to the right of where Vicar Amelia's arena is.
Yeah,
you got the one with the
graveyard.
Yeah, you got the one with the electric mace and the one with the rifle spear, but he's doing my head in. He's just like, I can't parry him for whatever reason. But yeah, I'm having a great time. I'm loving it. It's got me back in after 5 years.
What are you using on the L1? Are you using
blunderbuss or pistol?
Blunderbuss?
No, I've got the pistol because I like the tighter timings of it, I guess.
Right.
Because I used the pistol. I know, like, everyone told me to use the blunderbuss when I first played it, but I used the pistol, and I got good at using the pistol, so I've just carried on using it for my. But I rarely do parries or visceral attacks. To be honest, I'm just like, I dodge a lot and play like fully dex skill build pretty much. But I'm having a great time. I love it. It's got me back in the music. I forgot how good the music is.
Oh yeah,
especially like who was it? The music for. Well, not the music. Well, you know, that first when you first see the cleric beast. I forgot how good that introduction is. Where it just leaps off the castle walls.
Yeah, and that screech howl combo.
Screeches at you, leaps off the wall.
I love that moment where you're climbing up the ladder right at the beginning, and you just hear it in the distance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you can see the kind of city behind you. You can hear the scream in the distance. It's like, fuck. It's just a really good, mood builder.
And I bought the old Hunters because it was actually on sale. The PS5 did some sneaky marketing to me because like when you go on the just on like your game tile on the PS5.
Yeah, and that was all of them at the bottom.
In the biggest box in the right hand side of the screen was just level the old Hunters 50% off. So I was like, ooh, okay. But I had a weird quirk where I bought old Hunters and then I went to play Bloodborne again and it said I didn't own the game because I just downloaded the PlayStation Plus collection version. So I had to go grab my disc-based version of Bloodborne, wait 20 minutes for that to install from the disc and download the patch. Then it let me play it again. But now I've got two versions of Bloodborne installed on my PS5 and I don't know which one to delete because I don't know which is the version I'm using anymore.
That's so weird. That's so weird. I've got three, right? Because it counts. If you look on your game library, it counts like discs you've put in recently.
Yeah,
even if you've deleted them off. Yeah. So I've got like the disc version of Bloodborne, which I own. I've got the PS Plus version, and I've got another version which I don't know what that is or how I've got it, but I've got three versions of Bloodborne.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got to choose between a list of which ones I want to download. Yeah, which is just very strange. It really needs tidying up all that stuff.
I've just got two exactly identical copies of Bloodborne, but I don't know which one to delete because it won't actually tell me.
Licensed, validated, ready to work with old hunters, but don't want. Yeah, what a mess! Like
I don't know what's going on with that, but Bloodborne's pretty great. Who knew, eh? Who would have guessed this little game from 2015 is actually pretty good? But I've been enjoying it a lot, and it's literally the only game I've had time to play this week. I did briefly boot up the definitive edition of Dragon Age 11 on the PC because it just came to Game Pass, and I sat at the main menu for 5 minutes and just couldn't. I just had to close it. I didn't have the fortitude or the capacity to take it on at this time in the morning. I downloaded Haven as well, the game from the people who made Fury, if you remember that boss rush game. This is their new game, and it's like a turn-based RPG, but it's I heard good things about it, so I've installed that, ready to give it a go. It's just finding the time.
Nice art, I think. It looks nice.
Yeah, really looks really good.
Well, I was gonna say that I haven't played anything, but that's not true. I've played the Twisted and the Twilight DLC, which is Total War Warhammer. So this is a real fucking vintage episode here, isn't it? Like Souls, Bloodborne, and Total War. But it's just nice to have a bit of Warhammer 2 content, because Creative Assembly are just pumping out like Total War stuff all the time.
Right.
Historical ones, mini historical games. You know, Troy was giving out for free. There's all sorts of free DLC shit going on with that. You know, you're paying for Blood and Gore DLC, and it's all a bit whatever. But with Warhammer, I was kind of I've been playing it a lot this year. Played it more than anything else this year, really, to be honest. And I was really looking forward to some more content, and here it is. It's just the Lords pack, so there's not any new races or anything. But I do really like how they kind of tune in the game and adding stuff and adding mechanics, and it's what I love about XCOM as well. It's like the XCOM is just not afraid of power creep, which is kind of like used as a bad word, and you know, you feel like you're becoming too powerful and the game's becoming too easy and stuff. But you know, it has a very robust difficulty system that you can fiddle with, and you can level. You know, you can make the campaign really hard, but keep the battles normal if you know. So I don't think there's any problem with the way they're doing it. It's a fantasy game, and I like that they're kind of leaning into the fantasy-ness of it. And you know, it's no problem to me that you get a lord right from the beginning who's flying an eagle, who after like leveling up 10 times is then on a dragon, and you're flying around on a dragon, and the dragon just fucking owns. But
he's got his permit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
To be grade 10 eagle flyer before you can ride the dragon.
Exactly. Everyone knows that. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. I think it's about time for Warhammer 3, I think, now, because they are kind of I don't know like Warhammer lore or whatever at all. Like I really don't know anything, but it just seems like so what they do is they give you two lords that are kind of opposing, and there's some kind of rivalry between them in each of these DLC packs. So they give you, so this one is the Twisted and the Twilight, which is the Twilight being like a pair of elves, like sisters who are one lord, and then you know, like a horrible rat, right? So then you know, you don't need to know anything else. It's a fucking horrible rat, right? And then the horrible rat's speciality is that he can tinker with other rats and make monstrous rats, and you can honestly, it's pretty. The systems they've put in it are pretty crazy, where you kind of like, there's like a laboratory for experimenting with stuff in one of the lords, and there's another lord who is Grom the Paunch, who's an orc who you have to feed. You have to make meals for him. You got to like. So there's like a meal system in it. I'm not joking. It's like
that's really cool, isn't it?
It's nice. It's nice little details like that, and they have effects in stats and. You know, bonuses. The Skaven kind of have like rats that can come out of the ground, which seems overpowered, but it's quite nicely balanced. But what I'm saying is they have these lords that kind of oppose each other, and this just doesn't feel like, I don't know Warhammer lore, but it just doesn't feel like, it's like if Lord of the Rings was like, it's fucking Eowyn and I don't know, this orc from Moria or something, and you're just like, well, in Lord of the Rings, they would never see each other, mate. Like, they wouldn't be anywhere near each other. So why have they got such a problem with each other? It's like that kind of. It doesn't feel like a match in my head.
Yeah.
Which to me says they are kind of just trying to find a way to get these other lords in. In a way that works, kind of.
Yeah.
But I would.
Don't worry too much about it being close to the law. I'm sure we would have somehow maybe heard about that by now if it was a huge blasphemous scheme.
Yeah, you definitely would have. But it's I think it's just, what I'm saying is it just feels like it's time for Warhammer 3 now, and I wouldn't be surprised if this was the last of the little
one big push. It seems that way. I've noticed like a lot of I follow a lot of streamers on my Twitter who play strategy games. And a lot of them who aren't maining Warhammer have returned for this, and I'm not sure if that's because there's a paid budget or if it's because of organic interest. Either way, seems to be for a reason, and I always think that normally that's an indicator of something big happening. So like, it seems like they don't really have anything else planned, like Creative Assembly, for the winter. Like, I don't think they're doing anything else with their other games or any big bits. So this was like their kind of big winter DLC kind of thing. So. Yeah, who knows? Because even I got into Warhammer Total War Warhammer 1 and 2. Like it's really, really, really good, and I ended up playing a lot of the second game, but with the races from the first game. I could really see myself in, like, now that I'm a bit more familiar with it and stuff like that. Yeah, I reckon when the third one comes out, I'd love to be part of like that initial, discovering wave frontier. So it's the frontier. I like it when a game's a frontier. Well, the pack looks like it's doing well.
I think if there's more interest, I think it simply is because it's been quite a length of time since the last one, and they are slowing down. The releases are slowing down.
Funny how that works, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But the one thing that is kind of still irritant, which I was saying, as I started talking about it, is that they've got all these different like free DLCs and shit, and there's all these little pieces of content, and it's a fucking mess. Like they've got this Total War Access thing, which is like a fan club or whatever, and you've got to link that account to your Steam account to get access to like these lords, which is sometimes really good, like really cool and worthy additions, but the amount of like account registration hoops that you've got to jump through, which actually doesn't work a lot of the time either, where it's failed to verify and all this kind of shite, right, where you're like, well, if this worked it'd be okay, but it doesn't a lot of the time. And
what's a huge thing for me about these games is that like, the fandom would love a huge, gigantic box, premium, probably 80 quid or whatever, which is Total War Warhammer 2 Complete Edition, physical, all on discs, to just put in with maybe a map or something. But it's like, I have a feeling that's what they'd like. They have it like on a little nerd shelf or whatever, but it's not like that with this. Everything is so piecemeal and unusual, and like I swear there was things where it's like limited time offer to get somebody or pre-order bonuses and stuff. Wouldn't it be good if you could just say to somebody, "Oh, you want to get onto Warhammer 2? Here it is.
Yeah,
have a go of it."
The game is really like it's like a Pokemon fucking starter pack or something, where you haven't really you've got the kind of bare essentials, but you haven't got a lot of what you need and a lot of what you can get. And I think the piecemeal thing is that paradox approach is, it's there's two sides to it. It's cool, it's exciting when something big like this comes out, but when even this expansion, it's not an expansion, this little DLC that's come out, they've put a free DLC load with it. If you own Total War Warhammer 2 and Total War Warhammer 1 and the Wood Elf DLC from Total War Warhammer 1, and it's like, the kind of flow chart for what you need to qualify for, the solution is just buy everything. But that's obviously what they want, isn't it? That's what their rewards for people who have bought everything. But then you do get that fear of missing out thing where people will kind of jump through hoops to get the free stuff. And actually, the free DLC from that they put out with the last DLC. So there was this Lords pack that came out, I don't know, 6 months ago. They put a free Lord with that if you owned Total War Warhammer 1 and 2 or whatever it was. That was great. That was better than the actual DLC itself. It was really fucking good. A good campaign, really, really hard campaign. Probably the most difficult campaign in the game. So if you're like a series veteran and you want a challenge, that's it's one of the best options. But to qualify for that, you have to just essentially buy everything to just make sure that you like ticked all the fucking boxes of what you need to qualify.
And is it free at that point?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not a fan of how that is panning out, and although I am really happy to see the game still being supported, and I was excited about this DLC, and I am enjoying it. I just I think that if you want to do this, if you want to have all these small bits of content and whatever, I think that the way that they're doing it at the moment is a mess, and I think there's a better way of doing it.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's all that taken care of. The Game Awards are happening this week. It's on Thursday. The Game Awards is not really just an award show at this, but even it's called the Game Awards. It's kind of a mini kind of E3 thing at this point, isn't it? Where you've got reveals and stuff and trailers and world exclusives and
live
world
performances.
premieres. Yeah, all of that.
Well,
all
not
of
this year, but
yeah. That feels like it's funny. It's funny, but it's also like.
But sad.
I think on the Philharmonic Orchestra zooming in from Abbey Road Studios and doing a live performance. I think they are.
Are they really?
Maybe.
Yeah, they're from Abbey Road Studios, and they're going to be doing a live. They are live, like. But
I hope the entire thing is just streamed from Jeff's bedroom. To be honest.
Yeah. He's just like in a hoodie. Pro or whatever.
Yeah, he's just got his hoodie and a pair of trackies on, just streaming from his bed. That'll be fine.
You know he's slapping himself in the mirror right now. Doesn't matter what time you're listening to this. It's him going, "Get it together, Keely. You're putting on the greatest show on planet Earth." Yeah.
You're an okay guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Nobody has strong feelings about you either way. Okay. Let's keep it that way. There's a lot of news stories about this I've seen on Twitter and this and that, which is about everything apart from the games, which is kind of funny. Brie Larson, I think, is a host.
Right.
Some Muppet.
The Swedish Chef.
Yeah. Out of all of the Muppets, get the white guy. Good work, Jeff. You fucking prick. Talk about diversity. You could have got a fucking puppet frog. You still got a fucking white guy. You idiot. You fucking idiot.
That's so funny.
Not one black host as well. That's what I've seen from it, which made me laugh because I was like, "Why the Swedish Chef?"
I think Kermit's probably a bit too close to Pepe, though, isn't he? You don't want, you don't want that gamer association.
But yeah, so I saw a lot of that, and I think it's because it's just been a lot of that. Like it seems really like a dad has put it together. I've seen some of the live bands. They haven't exactly got anything fresh and new. You know, come from an edgelord like myself. I got to admit, the Cyberpunk soundtrack is really on the money. They've got some really exciting, really good artists like Sophie, Shy Girl. They got like boring artists like Run the Jewels who are like, they're good, but they're on Adult Swim. They're this and that. They'll be on GTA 6, you know. So I thought, but they Cyberpunk. They've done their research. They've got some good music. Vista, who have they got? They've got Eddie Vedder. And who's Eddie Vedder again? He's like some legendary guitarist, isn't he? But I can't remember what he's from.
Is he from Van Halen?
Pearl Jam. That's it. Yeah. And so he's playing. That's what I mean. It's very dad rock. The whole thing. They got an orchestra playing.
I like Pearl Jam, so that says a lot there. If I think, oh cool, then that's fucking.
That's uncool. How do you feel about the Swedish Chef? I don't want to. Like if I curated the Game Awards, no one would give a fuck. About 400 people in their attic would be like, can't believe they've got Mogwai doing an unusual cover of the Animal Crossing New Horizons 1am soundtrack. So it's probably, I don't want to sound too much like I'm scoffing because it is cool that it gets its own night and stuff like this. Yeah. And I think like even like the Oscars, loads of people who like films don't like the Oscars and stuff like that. But I like a celebration. I always like celebrations. Normally it's a good excuse to eat or drink. So I'm always for them. And I think to kind of legitimize the gaming scene in a night like this is something a lot of people do get behind, and everyone kind of says this game was robbed or this is, but I think it's like a good thing, and at least he's doing a good thing for it. So I don't want to be too snarky and ballandish about it because I do think they do something. And what you can't forget is last year they brought some fucking heaters. They brought some announcements. The Series X was shown off for the first time there at the Game Awards.
So that's kind of what I wanted to get into, really. And one of the things that is coming up for sure is a Dragon Age kind of unveiling, which I'm looking forward to. A bit of Bioware news, but I wanted to ask if you guys had any predictions first and foremost before we go into the actual awards themselves. What do you reckon we'll see, and what do you hope to see?
The most boring one that everyone wants, of course, is Elden Ring, just because we haven't seen anything of it for like 2 years.
We almost played Bloodborne, so I feel like that could be the universe telling me something.
Maybe I've willed it into existence. I hope so. Yeah. I do hope that's true. I don't know, because I think Game Awards always was like the announcements were like proper surprising. Usually, like Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 a couple of years ago. It was like,
that's right. Yeah.
Who would have ever thought? And it came out as a Switch exclusive. Like, who thought that would ever be a thing? But
Who would have thought? Like, to be honest, who would have thought the Xbox would have been shown off there?
Yeah,
it was pretty fucking cool. So I'll tell you what. Elden Ring is the big one, right? It's God's reward for me, Platinum and Demon Souls, isn't it? But the thing that I really think is actually like could be a viable prediction is like something new from Kojima. Just a CGI, just a low, some indication of where he's going. I know that they're pretty tight, and I know that Jeff will definitely have been ringing his phone like, "Have you got anything for me, buddy? Have you got anything for me, buddy?" There's been these rumors circulating for a while that Kojima's doing this, Kojima's doing that, and is he doing a horror? Is he not? Also, kind of connected to that, there is this other rumor that's been building up motion over the summer of a Silent Hill reboot, remake, whatever it is.
Yeah.
My dream would be seeing what Kojima's up to next, because Death Stranding really has, I think, matured well in players' heads. I think the more you think about it, the more you're like, oh, and the more you remember a lot. My brother's been playing it recently on the PC, and he's like, this game is so good. It's a lot of walking, though. And I'm like, yeah, but you forget the walking afterwards. Mm-hmm. You only remember you know what I mean? So it's good, because
it's like your first playthrough of Soulsborne game, and you kind of forget how often you wanted to like bite your controller and break it in half and throw it through the window. Yeah. You forget all that. You just remember the fucking masterpiece moments.
All that frustration melts away when you get that first hit of the low roar soundtrack as you cross over the horizon of the mountain.
Exactly. Yeah, you're walking up this hill and you think it's better be fucking worth it, and it always is. Mm-hmm. So they can do that to you for 20, 30 hours, and damn. But I want to see new Kojima. Yep. Definitely want to see Elden Ring, and I would love Silent Hill. But
did you see the thing about the original creator of Silent Hill, because he worked for Sony Japan? Him and a couple other people left, made their own game studio, and it happened this week, and they were showing off concept art, and it was some proper like body horror looking stuff. So I'm hoping it's meant to be a new IP from them, apparently, from this like brand new studio that they've just formed. I don't think they've got a publisher or anything, but
no.
Like the concept art made me excited, especially seeing that it's from the man who made Silent Hill, and he's going back to horror, which is so good.
And it's a tough one with horror sometimes, isn't it? But I don't think it's like. I think the older the people get making it, like it can. It's not one of those things that's a young man's game, I don't think, or whatever. So like I think that if Silent Hill's kind of like horrific metaphors for real life experiences and stuff like that. So I hope that like the creator of something like that can hopefully like draw on more stuff that's happened and make more good, meaningful stuff rather than just being like, I'm the Silent Hill guy. Yeah. How George Lucas has become the Star Wars guy. I'm only thinking of that because Mike brought up George Lucas earlier. So it's been just here in my subconscious. I think that Capcom had so many leaks, we know kind of what to expect, but we just don't know when to expect them. So because of these leaks, meaning that Capcom might ramp up their sizzle department and try and get something a little bit flashy. If we could just get a literal Dragon's Dogma 2 logo reveal at the Game Awards, I think a lot of people would be excited about that. Yep. I think that my final prediction is that I think there's going to be a big integration into TV this year with this Game Awards. I don't know why. I feel we'll see some sort of like trailer for a Netflix original. I know we got like, what have we got coming up? Devil May Cry, Resident Evil, The Witcher. There's a new season of that on the way. There's like quite a lot, and I know that Jeff works a lot with like CD Projekt. So I'm wondering if there's going to be like a TV show reveal. I feel like I don't know why. I just feel like it.
Well, I've been watching the Mandalorian season 2, and I fucking smashed it all in like 2 days actually after the last podcast. Yeah, and it's amazing. It's really good. But I think that you can't help but imagine how fucking cool a bounty hunter or a Mandalorian type of Star Wars game would be. And I think that like as a dream thing. I'm not saying for this Game Awards, but that would be something I would really enjoy. I think, and there has Jedi. What was it? Fallen Order.
Yeah.
I just didn't have that, like, I don't know. It was good, and I enjoyed it. But I still don't feel like I've had a really satisfying single player Star Wars experience for a long time. So that's something I would love.
Talking about that game like that. I only played the first bit. I turned it off. I own it, right?
Yeah.
But everyone keeps talking about it like that. Like people talking about holding back, and everyone talks about like the game was holding on. I feel like there's not that there wasn't that spark between the. Do you know what I mean? Like, especially it was a respawn game as well, which normally they make a big splash. So I feel like everyone was kind of like thinking that's not your full power.
That's what's strange about it. It's very competently made, and you know, they just snatched a bit of mechanics from Dark Souls, snatched a bit of mechanics from whatever, and you know, and it's good. It's, you know, it is good and it's solid. And I didn't mind the world at all. I liked it. I quite liked the protagonist in the end, and you had the cute Star Wars mascot, which you have to have.
Yeah.
And I liked it, but I just I still don't feel like I've had a satisfying like single player Star Wars experience for ages. So I would love, and I just keep that. What my point is, I keep thinking about that when I'm watching The Mandalorian, just how fucking good a game would be in this version of the universe. Like,
make Republic Commando 2. Just do that. That'll do. I'd be happy with that.
That would be great. That would be great.
Did you see the Knights of the Old Republic petition that's kind of been growing this week? Did you see that? You guys not see it, no?
They're always on the petitions, aren't they? Like, good, make this happen.
How'd you rise up if not with a petition, eh? No, but there was, and it was before and I guess we'll go into that in a minute, the BioWare news. But there's been a bit of a petition to remake Knights of the Old Republic. Weirdly, that's and it's been getting quite a lot. Like you know, everyone's making a petition. There's probably, in the time that you, dear listener, have been checking out this podcast, it's probably been about 500 petitions made. Don't quote me on those stats. But let me see how this petition's going.
It would certainly fit. You know, it does fit the mold of like a beloved classic that you could easily remake with a simple visual upgrade and make it feel dramatically new. But the gameplay, I don't know how open people would be to, unless they could find a way of making it feel a bit more slick and maybe have that Dragon Age kind of, you know, that because of the, you know, a lot of it's melee combat.
Yeah.
So, you know, I would love to see it. I would love to see that. But
I think the reason for the petition is that it's coming up to in 2023, it will be the 20th anniversary of the game, and they're saying that if they get the petition now and get it green lit, then they can announce something on the anniversary. That's what the gamers are saying. I'm tapped in to the gaming network. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
And outside of that, for the Game Awards specifically, what I would like to see, hopefully, are a few more. I know it's really fucking boring, but it's what I want. I'd like to see some more, you know, some next gen patches, upgrades, even kind of, you know, I want to get fucking Battlefield 5 on there, you know, like, you know, because I fired that up and had a look, and it's very strange how quickly you can become spoiled by what you're looking at. So if
that's
you look
the point. You do know that there's that big thing that Battlefield 6 is in development. There could be a Battlefield 6 announcement there. Yeah. So weird that you said that, but carry on.
Even for the time being, if they found a way of fucking, you know, getting a good resolution and frame rate patch on it, you know, but because I've tried a few old games but you know, PS4 games, and that Battlefield 5 was one of them, and it just looked like it just seemed like, you know, coming straight out of Demon Souls.
I know, it's like Vaseline on the screen, isn't it?
Yeah, it's mad. It is really mad how quickly you become spoiled by things, and even like a native 4K resolution, you know, you can really argue that you don't really see that much difference, but if you look at a native 4K resolution for like 2 hours and then go and look at whatever the fuck Battlefield 5 is running at, it does you know, it did to me anyway.
I think some games like some of the, especially like PS4 Pro enhanced games like Battlefield 5 do benefit at least a little bit, like, because, you know, a lot of games that use like dynamic resolution and stuff, when it's like, but obviously on the PS5, because it's got a shitload more overhead and power, it can like push that limit higher than it usually does. And like, I saw Digital Foundry did like, was it Digital Foundry? Someone did like a massive rundown of like,
it was them,
yeah, like here's a bunch of games that actually benefit from the extra power of the PS5, whereas on the PS4 Pro it was a bit like, like the Tomb Raider games. I think the performance mode on them, when you were trying to do it on it said it was like going for 60 FPS, but on PS4 Pro it was more like hitting 40 at best. But you put it on the PS5, full 16 all the time. So it's like, it's like some games do benefit, but I do agree. I'd like to see more games get a nice little treatment, because there's a lot of games that could benefit from it. Bloodborne being one of them.
Controller support in there. You know what I mean? Get me that controller support.
Yeah.
Give me that trigger, man.
Well, we'll keep talking about the Game Awards in a little bit, but we have had an email about this controller, actually, so we'll butt in with an email here. If you want to send us an email, the address is dearspecialmoves@gmail.com. That's dearspecialmoves@gmail.com. Send us an email about anything game-related, anything you've been playing, any opinions you've got, if you disagree with us, or if anything you're excited about in the future, any observations you've got, send us a story, and we'll read it out and have a chat about it. So this one is from Jonathan Davis, who's not a Welsh rugby player, saying this: Dear Special Moves, Jonathan here, a waste roll from the middle of England.
Okay, definitely not. Suspicion is confirmed.
Definitely not, yeah. I've been hearing lots of enthusiasm for PlayStation 5's haptic feedback stuff. Assuming it's actually good, how worthwhile do you feel it is for multi-platform games to incorporate it? It seems like, to do it justice, it would require a fair bit of work. But this is effort that only a portion of players will experience. For example, I think it could be amazing in something like Warframe. However, 3 out of 4 platforms will never see any of this benefit. Yeah. 5 out of 6 of the old generation are included. I doubt I'll be upgrading my PS4 anytime soon, so that counts me too. I don't think anyone considers haptic feedback to be a system-selling feature, but could it become a deciding factor in what version of a game to buy?
Yeah.
PC might trace a few extra rays, but is my keyboard ever going to push back against me? Could it be worth Sony developing some in-house haptic specialists they can send out to give any game the Astros Playroom treatment? Thanks, Jonathan Davis. Thanks. That's a good email. I think it is worth the kind of conversation, the hype that's built around it over the console's launch. I think, because I was like a little bit like, well, how good could it be? But it is one of them. It's just as simple. It's been said a million times already, but it's just you have to play it to, you have to have it in your hand to experience it. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think that that question of multi-platform support for the haptic feedback stuff, as Jonathan put it?
Yeah.
How much of that are we going to see?
I think we'll see a fair bit. Oh, sorry, go on, Jake.
No, yeah, it's the same. It's the same. I mean, Call of Duty, for example, it's a bit of a weird one with COD, because like you turn it off when you're playing the multiplayer because you're playing against other people that don't have it. So it's there, and you're taking it out.
It does. Playing it with you guys the other night, it does feel like a fucking massive disadvantage when you've got it on.
Yeah, because it's beautiful and immersive, and it's really brilliant when you're playing it single player. It's fantastic, yeah. But when you're playing online, you turn it off, which is the problem I see for it in the future. But I have a feeling that because there's a lot of people who play Steam games with DualSense and when I play Steam, I use my Xbox controller the time, not when I'm playing a shooter. Guys, don't leave a comment. All right, calm down, please. And I don't even play shooters on PC anyway. I'm talking about, which is even worse. Maybe you should leave a comment. The point is that hopefully it'll be incorporated in a way where it'll be platform agnostic. So the trigger specifically, I'm sure there's a way of PC communicating that to the DualSense, because a lot of it's in the motors inside the controller. And so if you've developed a game for the PS5 version, it should be there in the PC version, I guess, just lay dormant, I assume. So you could just select it. And I have a feeling it'll end up being like that, eventually. And I'm sure when the Xbox, team were looking at how people were receiving the PlayStation 5, they were probably like, that's a lot of money for a game. We got it. Oh, they haven't answered us with PS Now. They haven't answered us on a lot of these things. We're ahead. We've got nothing to worry about. And then there's the only thing that they're probably looking at that they haven't got an answer to is this controller thing. And people are going mad about it. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was some sort of development of... I know that they launched these like half-step controller upgrades. You know, they're normally expensive, £100 or whatever. I have a feeling the next one will have these motors in, and then there'll be more incentive then for third-party developers to use it, because DualSense support is coming to Steam, the new one. Mm-hmm. So then all of a sudden, 2 of the 3 platforms that can play your brand new game can use that. So then it's just Xbox, and they're obsessed with looking cool. Xbox are obsessed with being the cool guy that can give you everything that the PlayStation 5 can't give you. So they're going to get on board. So I reckon I think by Steam having that, it will cause this effect where it won't be a fad that dies out. I hope not, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly been utilised really well in the kind of exclusive things on the whole. Or even Astro is obviously the biggest, most obvious example because that's why it's there. But then even subtly in Spider-Man and Demon Souls, it does kind of make a difference. And then in COD is a great example of it being a good test of what you could do with it in a shooter. And I don't see it being that difficult really for the amount, the size of the teams that they've got and stuff. And would it be that hard to kind of assign? Even something like COD is kind of a spreadsheet thing, isn't it? Once you've decided what effect you want to have on the trigger, like a bit of resistance when you pick the gun up.
Yeah,
and you want all the guns to feel a bit different. All you've got to do is kind of assign a weight to all the different guns, which
that's right, isn't it?
Anyway, for the animation speed.
Yeah, exactly. So you add in one field, which would be resistance, and then each gun has to have a value. So then it's just fine tuning that in.
Yeah.
LMG.
So maybe we're the haptic feedback specialists that Jonathan has suggested.
Absolutely. It's as simple as a spreadsheet. I think you'll find Ubisoft. Yeah. So
$200,000 a year will do it.
There's already quite a few companies even talking about it. Like I remember Capcom were bigging it up for Resident Evil 8, and that game's not even out until next year. So but they were already going like, I know they've got like a marketing sponsorship with Sony or whatever, but they were going like, feel the terror with the DualSense triggers.
Feel the terror, nice.
It's like going on loads of mad shit. Like they were saying like, oh, like if your gun jams in the game, your trigger will jam on your controller, and
that's
just
what
like
you want.
just like really weird stuff like that, which sounds like a bit gimmicky on paper, but it is one of those things where you have to feel it to experience it.
And I think one thing just to say to people who might be skeptical is that VR uproots your entire experience, and you aren't playing the exact same game with the addition of VR. You're playing often a compressed, shittier version of the game for VR. But you're playing the game exactly the same with this additional textural difference. Mm-hmm. So that's why it's such a good thing, because it's not like VR where people say you have to see it and feel it to believe it. Because VR, when you're in it, it's cool. You play it, some poor bastard who's bought its house, and you go, this is good, that, for 10 minutes, and then you feel sick, and then you go, I'm not spending $1,000 on that, they can get fucked. But with this, it's like, oh my God, so then you go home to your fucking DualSense, and you're not going to be looking at it the same, are you? Yeah. You're not going to be looking at it. So
it's like smell-o-vision, isn't it? Because you could still see the television, except you can also smell it. So it's the same thing.
And we all know how well that went. Yeah.
Right, so thanks, Jonathan. That was a good email. So let's carry on with a little bit on the Game Awards then before we move on to the new games and stuff. We are going to record we're going to have like some Game of the Year type picks and whatever coming out over Christmas. We're going to record that later today, hopefully. So, which a lot of people have been asking for, what do we think are our Game of the Year and what have you. So the Game Awards, I mean, do you have any big shouts for what's going on?
All right, let me have a look at what's going on.
I did get the nominations up, but I forgot to look at them.
Do you want me to just kind of run through the main ones for you right now?
Do it.
Game of the Year nominees are thus. I hope someone answers my door. Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Animal Crossing New Horizons, or The Last of Us Part 2. So, worth knowing here, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Sony only.
Mm-hmm.
Ghost of Tsushima, Sony only. The Last of Us Part 2, Sony only. Animal Crossing's New Horizons there, Switch only. Hades everywhere, Doom everywhere. So over half of the nominees are Sony first-party platform exclusives.
Yep. I think
interesting.
The only ones out of them I don't think stand a chance are Doom. No offense to Doom.
No,
and Ghost of Tsushima. No offense to Ghost of Tsushima. Just because Animal Crossing is a cultural phenomenon.
Yes, yeah.
Final Fantasy VII Remake mostly managed to please everyone.
Yeah, lived up to the hype.
Hades was like my Twitter for like all of November was just Hades. The entire it was just all Hades all the time. Yeah. And then The Last of Us Part 2, I know it is a bit controversial with some people, but the general overall consensus is it is a very highly acclaimed game.
I think if we were to get a meta, I think Animal Crossing will win. I think it deserves to win almost. If you're thinking of it in this sort of like games are philanthropy and help so many people connect over a thing. Can you remember when Elijah Wood played it with his fans? And can you remember how many depressed bisexuals on Twitter have found a new lease of life by finding very nice looking foxes and wolves? You know, it's like that, isn't it? It's going to be like that.
And it landed as lockdown was happening, which is a crucial.
It hit at the exact right time.
That's what I mean. I think Animal Crossing deserves it. So I would say it should be Animal Crossing. But personally, Hades to me, I played it last year, and I love roguelikes, so I got to represent. But Final Fantasy VII, it's Final Fantasy VII basically. That's the best game out of them, I reckon. In my opinion, I don't think it's going to win, but I think it's the best game. I love that game.
So a crucial point here is this is voted for by the gamers with a capital G, isn't it?
By the gamers?
Yeah.
By us, by me and you.
By the gamers. The gamers vote for this one, don't they? Do they go on the thing and say which one they want to win, and then that's the winner?
Yeah, there is indeed a couple of judges, but I think the gamers.
There is
we the gamer.
I think the voting committee is made up of like loads of people from the industry, like lots of different influencers and publishers. I don't think publishers are involved because that would raise a whole load of different questions. It's like industry experts, like people who've been in there for Christ knows how long. Like I know
Jason Schreier.
I think he is generally on the voting committee.
Yeah,
and then like every institution, because like there's YouTube channels who are part of the voting committee, stuff like Easy Allies are on the voting committee, and then depending on the size of the organization, I think like they get it's a bit electoral college actually. They get assigned a different amount of votes. Like IGN will get like more votes because they're a bigger organization, but they have to. It's up to them internally to come up with whatever they want their game of the year to be.
Americans, you're overcomplicating all of your fucking elections, all right? Stop it.
Yeah, exactly, because it's just a bit of a mess, isn't it? Yeah. I think the player, the gamer, the people,
the common person
counts as counts as one like judge,
one
I
vote.
guess.
One vote in it.
So that's what I mean.
Because
there's like a select few people in charge of this decision. I feel that they're gonna try and like use that for like, well, I feel responsible for my own vote, and I feel that Animal Crossing was a positive influence on the world and helps the profile of the gamers. So I think Animal Crossing will win because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Basically.
I played Animal Crossing.
You played 2 of these games, didn't you? No, 3. You played 3.
I played a little bit of Ghost of Tsushima and just thought it was another open world game. Put it off, and I beat Doom Eternal, which was good. Yeah, but it was so. I was about to say that out of all these, I've only played The Last of Us, which shows you how much I remember Doom Eternal, and then The Last of Us. I think,
it's in the books.
Creatively, to summarize, creatively, is not good. So
okay. So you didn't play Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is like
I didn't know, and I have dabbled in Hades. I bought it and played it a bit on the Switch, but I haven't.
Yeah,
I didn't,
Well, I think Hades is one of them where it's very hard to argue that it's bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm a big genre fan, so it's like I don't know how it would be to people that haven't played the game like that before, but by the general consensus on the internet, it seems to be like a really good example. Liam, what are you saying for this?
I reckon it'll probably be either, I can't decide. It's either going to be Animal Crossing or Last of Us Part 2. Personally, I want it to be Final Fantasy VII Remake, but I know it won't be, because but Last of Us Part 2 or Animal Crossing, I'd say, because...
Okay. So we both actually want Final Fantasy to win, but we both don't think it will win.
Yeah, just because Animal Crossing, like you said, because it was it came at the exact right time. So many people, it's so beloved by so many people. But then The Last of Us Part 2 is a game that a lot of people are like, look at how seriously gaming can be taken as an art form and all that. And,
yeah, exactly. So
a lot of people, just like singing it from the high heaven, saying like, this is an example of like storytelling in games can actually be serious and profound and whatever. I know a lot of people disagree on that, but
acting like an HBO drama level writing sort of thing. But
yeah,
I know, Mike shaking his head. Mike basically fucking. Mike could get thrown out if this is a theatre.
I mean, I don't agree with that. I don't think it's like HBO level of writing or film. It's not like No Country for Old Men level of film writing.
Certainly it's fucking not, right? And anyone who's even fucking thought that.
But that's what I'm saying. A lot of people did think that. If you go back and if you go on like OpenCritic,
people who live in San Francisco, and that's it.
If you go read all the like review excerpts on OpenCritic and stuff, it's so many people comparing it to like
the word profound
was used a lot. Profound, brave, whatever other words we used about it.
To be fair, I do think it's brave in a lot of ways, and I do admire a lot of the decisions that they took. But it's a game of a million endings, and it's a game of a guy. It's a game of sad acoustic guitar playing in a zombie apocalypse. And it's a game of stomping on people's heads, in a video.
Dogs, don't forget the dogs.
Whelping dogs, it's very difficult. If you've played, I think Jake, you said this at the time, and it does sound like something you say, but if you've played like, the Life is Strange and that kind of breed of game, you've kind of seen a lot of what it does as well already, especially in the earlier stages. So I don't understand, apart from how expensive it is and how much dialogue there is in it, why it gets
That's the thing. The thing for me is I didn't actually finish the game, because the ending was ruined for me, and I couldn't do it. But the game can try and be as profound as it wants, but when like 60% of the gameplay is my character doing this, like rotating an object, there's always a flip button. Or make the text sans serif font.
I'm fucking blasting the knees out from underneath people with a shotgun.
Yeah.
Times about 200 or 300.
I want one or I want the other guys. I don't want them both. It's just too much. It's too much. So,
Which is why something like with Doom Eternal is kind of, it is an infinitely more, graphic game in the way it kind of really puts it in your face when you do it. Mm-hmm. That doesn't upset me, does it? Because it's fucking Doom Eternal, and it's trying to be.
If Doom Eternal doesn't win, Bethesda are going to seriously consider putting an acoustic cover of Take On Me into Doom 3. So we're just slating the Game Awards taste here, so you can look forward to the Special Moves Game Awards, aka the real Game Awards, which will come. We're going to record that right after. Well, we will spoilers. We're going to give it to The Last of Us 2.
Yeah, and we've got some exclusives from Kojima. We've got some music curated by Jake and Liam. Don't worry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
we've got public votes where all that shite. So let's do one more email before we wrap up then.
Okay.
This is we've talked a little bit about Ghost of Tsushima and open world games, so this is slightly irrelevant to what we've talked about today. This is from Edward in Somerset, which is in England and the UK. Dear Special Moves, As an Anglo-Saxon history nerd, I recently decided to pick up a copy of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Against my better judgment, it must be said. Slick marketing and an awesome premise are evidently all it takes to override the deep-seated unease one feels upon hearing the words Ubisoft and open world. After 25 hours of raiding, sailing, drinking, and murdering, I can honestly say, without the slightest hyperbole, that I hate this game. I hate it with a burning, almost religious passion. Putting aside the gross historical inaccuracies, which I concede will be of little concern to most players, my primary criticism would be this. Valhalla attempts to do and be everything, while singularly failing to excel at anything. Every element of the game is mediocre. It has aspirations of being an RPG, yet the player has no real agency beyond cosmetic choices. Its roots are in stealth, but there's little depth to that mechanic. Its combat is flashy, but janky and wholly uninspired. Unlike Ghost of Tsushima, a game superior in every respect and mercifully about a quarter of the length, Valhalla tries to motivate its players not through a compelling narrative or deep gameplay systems, but through a constant drip feed of skill points, loot, and upgrades, much of which is pointless. Reminiscent of mobile games as well. It is not a bad game, of course, and I dare say many will enjoy it. Indeed, the user Metacritic currently sits at an 8.7. I, however, found it to be a soulless and tedious exercise in passing the time for passing the time's sake. Surely I'm not alone in thinking this. All the best, Edward and Somerset.
Thanks, Edward. Well, the budget for this game, the production budget was about $100 million. Yeah. Marketing budget's famously like double that, right? So the thing is that I get confused about with these Ubisoft games is I remember when we worked on Pretty Good Gaming, we had to like look for news, and sometimes there wasn't much news, so sometimes you got desperate and you'd watch these Ubisoft videos, and it was like they're all doing this and that, and they're all like flying out to Egypt and staying in an expensive hotel and talking to poor people and saying it's research, and they do it with Call of Duty every year as well. Talk to war veterans who talk about the feel of the boots of leather that they wore and this and that. But when Ubisoft pride themselves so much on this thing of Assassin's Creed is a tour of the world to the extent where one of the Assassin's Creed games, Origins I think it is, has an educational mode where there's no murder stabbing, and in fact it's all about looking at mummies and pyramids. So when they had every opportunity then to get a game like this right about a very well-known and like pretty well-established bit of history, there's lots of accounts that, and there's lots to it, right? It's not as far away as ancient Egypt, is what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. To get it wrong and to hear from a genuine expert that it is wrong, like it's a bit annoying and a bit, because you'd be playing that and assuming that it's right. You do you know what I mean? I'm not going to be like, well, of course they didn't write that. Misconception. But I'd be playing it and going, oh, that's cool. And the fact that they're always like, oh, this is historical. This is like very, very close to real. You think you might be able to learn something. But what I'm just doing is, I'm not playing a game to be educated, but it is cool sometimes to get a perspective. So I just don't like that. Then what's the point in them banging? Because they were talking about this, weren't they? Authenticity. Yeah. They were talking about all this and all this and all this, and a lot of the marketing stuff, a lot of the social media stuff was little tweets about the ship's cat and how Vikings had this and that and that. And to hear that it's not real is a bit disappointing then, really.
I haven't played it much since I talked about it last, to be honest. I haven't really gone back. I haven't played much PlayStation, really. But it's not that... I think this is, definite... I've talked about it before. It's definitely a game that has a kind of identity crisis going on because of that, like, stealth, free running, parkour shit that doesn't... It doesn't make sense, like, either, thematically. Why is this fucking Viking, who's kind of, heavy with shields and fur and a bow and arrow and a huge axe and small axes on his back and stuff, and why is he like launching up the side of buildings like Spider-Man? And everything else about it is presented to you in an accurate style. It's presented to you as the world. You kind of imagine would have been like.
Sorry if that upsets you, Edward.
Yeah. Well, what I'm saying is, it's not presented as only as far as it's not presented as an alternate universe where some people.
Right, that's what I mean. Yeah.
It's presented as an alternate universe where you can go back and experience history as it actually happened. So it's actually the alternate universe. The whole thing of it is accuracy and actually reliving what actually happened. That's how fucking accurate the Animus is. It has to be, you know. Yeah. Otherwise, it's not like a time travel, genetic time travel device. So I think this series is just a strange kind of. It has its fans and people who love it and people who come back to it year after year. But it's kind of strange thing that's slowly evolving and has evolved into a thing that it just wasn't. To begin with, it was an open world action adventure thing with stealth, only in as far as it had social stealth, so you could blend into the crowds and sit on benches, and that was the whole. That was the thing. That was the whole. Sell of it. Mm-hmm. And now it's trying to be this RPG avatar thing where you can. Do you want to have your hood up or your hood down, or do you want to show? You can have your bow and arrow equipped, but you don't have to show it on your back. You can disable that if you want, because it's your game. It's cool, you dress your Viking however you want to dress your Viking. Yeah. And that's what it is now.
The deluxe edition, so you can dress your Viking in the.
Yeah, exactly.
You want the gold cape, right? That's pretty cool.
Yeah. You want blue? That's 90 quid, please. Yeah. Interesting email, Edward in Somerset.
So Assassin's Creed Defense, I haven't even taken it out of its wrapping on my PS5 copy that I bought. Right,
doesn't sound like a defense.
But if you did get a PS5 with one game this launch window and it was Assassin's Creed, you're probably still playing it.
Mm-hmm. If you got absolutely.
You know what I mean? Whereas if you got Miles Morales, you're probably done with it in the first weekend.
Absolutely.
So that's its one benefit. If you can't, it's expensive. If you got a PS5 and it's expensive, that's you now out of budget till the new year. Assassin's Creed will see you through Christmas. Reliable, baby. So I just wanted to again just say that in case there's anyone listening who's about to say, "Well, it's done me well," because I know it's there.
Yeah, no, it has its fans, and I enjoy it. I've kind of enjoyed what I've played of it. I just haven't, Right. So, new games. Then there's a lot of stuff happening this week, so I think we'll just dive into it.
Okay.
December the 8th, which is the Tuesday, we've got Call of the Sea, which is coming out on PC, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X. It's another Raw Fury title, kind of an adventure puzzle game.
Oh, yes. I know this looking game. Isn't that coming out as a Game Pass on day one?
Is it really? Oh, that's cool. That's a good thing. That's always a good news. I like the artwork and stuff, on the
looks
thumbnail,
cool.
I guess you'd say. Looks nice. So that's happening. Destiny 2 is happening. It's coming to PS5 and Xbox Series X as an official, next-gen patch, I guess. I've been looking forward to this for ages, and I'm going to play this over Christmas.
Beautiful.
I've got an extremely busy couple of weeks coming up, so I probably won't be able to launch into it straight away, but I'm definitely going to get it done. And hopefully we can play some multiplayer or something at some point in it.
Yeah, it's such a good game, man. It's like... I'm playing it this week a bit more. Sorry for yawning. I'm playing a bit more, and I'm really looking forward to just seeing that, like that little graphical boost, but those triggers, baby. Give me the triggers.
Yeah. Doom Eternal, which we've talked about already.
Game Award, Game of the Year nominee.
Coming to Nintendo Switch, the FPS game. I still haven't actually tried any of these big FPS games on the Switch. I have no idea how.
I played Overwatch, but I don't really know if that counts. Yeah. It was good, but it was against other people who were playing it on the Switch, so that felt cool. But Doom seems a bit fast-paced for me.
I've got no desire to play any like FPS like this on the Switch, especially Doom Eternal, because that game cranked up the speed to 11.
Yeah,
so
high frame rate, right? That's the whole thing with it. Is the adrenaline, but you want it running at 60 FPS. Don't you?
Yeah, I can understand it. Like the first one being on Switch because it was a bit slower paced, but this one is so insanely fast that I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if it does work on Switch, but I not for me. Just nah.
So that's Doom Eternal. I never know how to pronounce this. Pyopolis Puyo Puyo Tetris 2.
Puyo Puyo Tetris.
Thanks, mate. Is out on
Puyo.
Nintendo Switch, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X. What makes this Tetris game different to the others?
So it's a crossover. Puyo Puyo is a franchise in itself. You might have seen it. It's the puzzle game with the little blobs that have eyes. I don't know if you've ever seen it before.
Oh yeah. Was it what was it on? Was it on like PSP or something like that?
Oh, it's been everywhere. It's incredibly. I think it started out on like the SNES or maybe even the NES, like going that far back.
1991.
Yeah, it goes back forever. Puyo Puyo. But yeah, it's a mashup of the two. I think it's got an adventure mode where you battle AI opponents and there's a little story. It's
not RPG apparently. This one.
Exactly. There you go. But yeah, it's another form of Tetris. Really, it's fun. Like, I can't really. There's nothing really to say to sell you on it if you're not into Tetris-like puzzle games.
And there are other more.
And there are.
There's no Tetris effect, is it? Let's get down to it. Yeah.
There's Puyo Puyo Tetris, or there's the game that will change your life spiritually, physically,
exactly,
emotionally.
Amen. Yeah.
Best of luck to everyone involved in the development, publishing, and marketing of Puyo Puyo Tetris 2. All the success. Wish you all the success in the world. Ghost Runner is out on Nintendo Switch on Wednesday, December the 9th.
Why?
Another game I don't know why you'd play that on the Switch, because it is so insanely fast and requires such precise input. I just don't get it. But
okay,
all power to you if you want to play it on Switch.
Also, why release a game of that ilk and of that style and of that genre and of that aesthetic on the 9th of December? Because on the 10th of December is
Cyberpunk 2077, which is out on PC, PS4, and Xbox One, and Google Stadia, from a company called CD Projekt.
Biggest game of the year. We did it. We're finally here. Mm-hmm. One thing I've got to mention. Very, very weird. Very, very fucking weird. Have you guys seen the discussions about this? Do you know what I'm going to say or anything? The review copies and that?
Nope.
They're not out.
Have they not? I saw them. I saw they were threatening to do takedowns of anyone who leaked stuff, like before the embargo.
People from Polygon, IGN, GameSpot, US Gamer, Eurogamer. We haven't got the game. Friday night, 4 p.m. Some tweets went. So, still, the review embargo, by the way, the same day that this podcast goes out. And they don't have the game. What's this fucking Baldur's Gate 3? Sending out fucking 100-hour games in 48 hours? I could never. I did. But the point is, it's a mess. Like, and I know like really big streamers, and I was asking them, I was like, when's the game coming out? Have you got it yet? None of them. We're talking some people with like 4 million followers on YouTube who do reviews, big turnaround, ACG types. Nope. So what the fuck is going on? I do not know. If the embargo lifts on Monday and on Friday some of
no one's got the game,
biggest website on Friday at 4 p.m. Why would they do that? Let's see what happens. There's going to be a lot of work. There's going to be a lot of review in progress, isn't there, on Monday? Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to bring that up because it is very, very weird. Because if you did have the greatest game ever made of all time, ever, the most anticipated game ever, you knew it was going to be good. You know it was going to be a banger. You lift the review embargo a week before, and then you just fucking swing your dick about for a week, don't you?
Like Sony does with this. It just knows that it's got a certain level of polish, and it knows it's going to get 8s at least. So it just kind of puts the reviews go out for Horizons and whatnot early.
Yeah. Wasn't it God of War? The reviews came out almost like a week and a half before the game did, and they were just like basking in the glory of all the people going 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, best PS4 exclusive yet, and they were like basking in it.
We would have played. So the next podcast.
Yeah. I'm already expecting fucking cyberjank memes and shit like that, and but I am a big harbinger of doom, and I'm pretty excited about when I'm like, this is going to be shit, and I'm excited about the fact that I know I'm going to be right, especially when everyone else is saying it's going to be great. But I don't have that feeling. I don't have that feeling with this. Is what I'm saying. I don't. No. I'm not interested in it.
Calling it now. 7 out of 10. I don't know.
Yeah.
I take that back.
77 out of 10.
Yeah. I reckon it'll be. Good. I've got a feeling it will be good, but it will have a big push in January, fix all the bugs, and look way better on new systems.
It'll be one of those games where the next gen patch will come out and everyone will go, "This is what it was meant to be," and all that.
Exactly. But I'll be getting
apart
it
from the
one.
PC players. They'll be like
GTA 5 patching it. So I think that I'm just still not feeling it, and maybe it's because these reviews aren't coming out. And if there was a wave of reviews coming out saying, "Oh, this is the fucking best game that's ever been made," maybe I would be excited. But I'm not. It's not. That's not happening, and I'm not. My opinion hasn't changed, and I'm not looking forward to it. But the flip side of that is I don't actually think it's going to be a complete fucking dud. And maybe it won't be the best game ever made, but maybe it'll be all right.
I reckon it'll get 8 out of 10s from most review outlets. They'll be like, there's a great game here, it's got some rough edges, nothing that can't be fixed with a couple patches or updates down the line. But that still won't stop the vocal contingent online of, saying everyone's pushing an agenda, they're trying to destroy this game for whatever reason, which I don't think is true at all. I think it'll be a perfectly fine game that has some rough edges.
Yeah.
That's
what So I'm gonna get it day one and play it a lot.
Same. I'll get it.
So let's see. So back next week's podcast, 100% Cyberpunkage.
I'll go the extra mile and I'll get it on GOG to throw them the extra pennies.
I might give it a miss. Might give that podcast a miss, lads. And then Medal of Honor Above and Beyond is out on PC on Friday, December the 11th.
A Respawn game. A VR exclusive game.
Yeah. That's the big catch. That's the big catch. There's also Panzer Dragoon Remake coming to Xbox One, which I think had a release.
Oh yeah, it's been It had like 6-month exclusivity on the Switch, then it came to PC, then it came to PS4, now it's on Xbox, so it's everywhere now, apart from mobile.
So now that game is everywhere as well. So that's it. That's all the new games coming out next week. Look forward to the Cyberpunk special next week. I'm not going to be there. I'm just
a cut out of my can.
Yeah. I'll have a cutout like this.
Yeah.
Just drop out the call and we'll message you when it's time to come back.
So look forward to that. Remember, keep your Dear Special Moves emails coming in. They do all get read. Please do keep sending them in. All your opinions, all your stories. Let us know what you've been up to. dearspecialmoves@gmail.com. And if you're a patron, we have just put out a Patreon bonus podcast a few days ago, so check out that on our Patreon feed. Thanks everyone who supports us on Patreon. We really do appreciate it. We'll see you again next week. We're about to record our Christmas Games of the Year episode. So that'll be good.
See you next week, everybody. Bye.